today we are going to pose the career coach like Q&A. Tiffany and myself will answer your questions about job search, resume, cover letter, networking. Like I said, I really like this session because we can talk about anything. So like anything job search related. So I'm going to start by introducing myself. My name is Katerina. I work in HR and I'm also a career coach with Devant for over 5 years, I think now, 4 years probably. I've been in HR for over 6 years, and I work right now for a healthcare service provider. So I'm really excited to be here today and answer all of your questions. And I'm going to pass it over to Tiffany.
Thank you, Katerina. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much for letting us all know where you're from, the college and program that you're interested in, and the types of work that you're seeking. So I have been working with Devant for almost a year now. In my full-time job, I support a lot of participants and clients with finding jobs within the tech field. So whether that be a technical support rep, whether it be mostly data related jobs. So if you're seeking like a business analyst role, a data analyst role, that's something that the class that I work very closely with. I have worked within the career and employment services for over 5 years so far. So definitely, a lot has changed and happened within the market. We had COVID, there's ATS, there's just, lots of hurdles and hoops that we have to basically jump through in order for us to secure employment. So I'm sure some of you may possibly be experiencing some of that as well. So please feel free, type in the chat, use the Q&A to let us know any of your questions or concerns that you may have.
Perfect. Thanks, Tiffany. And before we start, I'm just going to go through some housekeeping. So you're all muted. And if you want to ask a question, you can let us know and we will like unmute you. But we highly recommend to use the Q&A. In that way, we can try and answer all of your questions. If you put it in the chat, like sometimes people like that is sorry like add like other stuff and the questions we might like miss the question. So that's why like I highly like encourage you to post all of your questions, to type all of your questions in the Q&A. No need to use your video. And this session will be recorded. Actually it's recorded, and the video recording will be sent to all of you that attended this session, so you can review it again, because I think we're going to answer like a lot of different questions. And also Tiffany is going to post the link so you can see some like upcoming events from Devant, and we also have a slide in the end and we will share those with you. So a little bit about Devant. So we help over 48,000 international students and newcomers to get hired in Canada. On the Devant like platform, you can find like a lot of free resources and resources like handouts about like resume, interview skill, about like job searching. There are also a lot of experts and career coaches. They can provide advice, like on again, resume, cover letter, job search, networking. So definitely go on the Devant website, explore it. You can just visit devant.ca and so you can learn more. Okay, so we would like to start this workshop by asking you a like couple of questions. You can let us know what are your wins this month, or like what are your challenges. And if let's say, like you don't want to talk about that, we can definitely like you can start like asking your questions, any questions about your job search, resume, cover letter. And again, like highly encouraged to use the Q&A. So I think we have our first question. I'm seeking a co-op internship placement starting from January 2025. Aside from LinkedIn and Indeed, are there other resources and career sites I can use to find marketing, sales, admin job? So I think you have like a really good start, LinkedIn and Indeed, like a really good resources, like job boards to start looking. Another like thing that I think you should do is try to like find people on LinkedIn. They're like managers, or they work like in like the industry that you wanna like work in, and like send them email, like send them an email, introduce yourself, especially for co-op placements. There is nothing wrong to find their email or to connect with them on LinkedIn. Let them know that you're looking for a placement. You can also like attach your resume, and you never know, like who can like reach out to you. Networking here, it's very important. And I'm going to quickly share like my story. When I was looking for a co-op, I couldn't find a co-op, and I had to start in September. It was already like September and I didn't have anything. So a friend of mine shared my resume with her manager, and her manager had like an HR group where she like sent it my resume. Somebody from that group, they were looking for like a receptionist slash HR assistant, and they reached out to me. So definitely like use the networking part. Try to like reach out to people on LinkedIn. Try to reach out to people, like send them emails. I think you can find their email. I know that the last time Tiffany shared like this like really great tool from, was it what was the website called, where you can write the name of the person and their email will come up, Tiff?
I have to find it, but I will definitely put that in the chat.
Yeah, I think it was like Cultivate Culture. I think that, and it was
Something
like
like that.
something like
Yeah.
that. Perfect. So like that will be like a really great tool for you, like to see if you can find the work email of the managers that you can find on LinkedIn, and definitely like talk to like people, like friends, family friends, like relatives. Try and like let them know that you're looking for a job. You never know like from where like, like your co-op might like, like you never know who can help you. I know that somebody got hired because they shared with their dentist that they're looking for a job, and their dentist like recommended them to a friend of theirs. It's like you will hear like amazing stories, and like the power of networking, it's like, oh. So like I would definitely recommend doing those things. Also try, like some go on the company's websites, like try to like type like use keywords like co-ops or internships, see like what is out there, and like just like keep applying. I'm sure you will find something. Just don't like be on LinkedIn and Indeed. Try like different type of like things to see if you can find co-op. Also your college or university, they probably have a website where they post like co-ops and internships. Talk to your co-op coordinator, see if they have anything, like in mind. Sometimes they have like these partnerships with other companies, and if you are like struggling to find a co-op, they might be able to help you. Tiffany, do you have anything else to add?
No, I think you did cover everything. Again, a lot of it does go back to networking. I do, if you are hoping to start in January, I would probably try to be a little bit more aggressive than usual, only because we are slowly approaching the holiday season. So a lot of companies are closed for weeks at a time. I know with us, with my job, we're off from the 24th, and we are not returning until January 6th. So lots of places will be off. People are using up their vacation as well. So unfortunately, that can sometimes mean that your job search or, hoping to obtain an internship, unfortunately, does get delayed. So I would just try to ramp things up a little bit more. And you can even use the excuse of, happy holidays. I hope you're doing well. And then see if you can kind of create an opportunity for yourself from there.
Perfect, thank you. Next question. My name is Emre. Hi, and I'm an interactive media design graduate from Francia College. I'm using LinkedIn Premium, but I don't get any feedback. I mostly get some feedback from Indeed. Should I use other websites? Job Bank and Ladder websites were useless for me. I'm looking for UX and graphic designer roles. I also have a bachelor's in journalism from Turkey. Okay, perfect. So I'm assuming you're also looking for a co-op or a job. So if like job bank, like it's not helpful, that's totally fine. I would also recommend to try like Glassdoor, try like ZipRecruiter. If you're getting like feedback from like recruiters and from hiring managers on Indeed, maybe like that's where you should like start looking for jobs. Also like try to like find any groups on LinkedIn like related to like the roles that you apply. Like sometimes there are like graphic designer groups, and see like if they're posting something in there. I know a lot of people forget about Facebook, but there are like really great groups on Facebook, like like about the work, about job search, like about different sectors and like different roles. So I would highly recommend like to kind of like join those groups, and maybe like send a post and say, hey, like I'm looking for a job, and we're looking for a co-op. So I will definitely like try that. When it comes to job search, like sometimes one thing like works for like some people and like the same thing doesn't work for others. So it really depends on like what job you're looking for, the market, the sector, like the geographical area. So my like advice is like to try like different things: LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor, like ZipRecruiter. Try networking, try go on company's website, try like send emails like to hiring managers, and see like what kind of like works for you. But if Indeed works, like definitely like keep updating your resume, keep applying, and I'm sure you will find something. Next question. Hi, I'm currently doing my co-op. I'm looking for a job in HR from January 2025. That's great. Like same thing that I said to like the previous two like attendees. Keep like applying, update your resume, tailor your resume according to the job description. I'm sure you will find something. Next question. How do you clearly tailor your LinkedIn profile so that you can earn so that you can earn the attention of more than one sector of recruiters, hiring managers, and talent acquisition, so that you don't lose out the best job offers, asking as a job seeker with multi-talent skills and experience. So usually like when you share your experience on LinkedIn and when the recruiters like look for your they look for like they search for candidates, they use like keywords. And most of the times, like when we search like for particular roles on LinkedIn, we add like job titles. So that's the first thing. So we will add the job title, and then all of the applicants with that job title will come up. Sometimes if you wanna like kind of like narrow down your like search, you can like search for like city or like like kind of like a geographical area, and then in that way like candidates show up. So to be honest, like there is no like, oh, like I'm gonna like do this, or like I will attract like different recruiters from different sectors. They don't like, sometimes they don't even put the sector. I don't even think there's like an option for that, to be honest. We have Recruiter Lite, so I don't think it's an option for that. But like usually it's mainly by job title, by city, and also sometimes like college or university, if that role is kind of like tailored to, if like let's say like some jobs, like there are some colleges, universities that offer like programs that are not offer like everywhere, right? So like that's how they kind of like tailor. So I would say your LinkedIn profile should be make sure that your experience is in there and your experience match your resume, that you have like a really good summary, like a real professional picture, right? And I think that's kind of like the best thing that you can do. It has to kind of like look professional, but I honestly don't think there's like anything that you can do to kind of like tailor it according to like different sectors. I don't know, Tiffany, do you think is there anything else that they can do?
Yeah, honestly, my bias and my favorite tool for these types of things is always to just navigate towards LinkedIn. There's millions of users on there, millions of companies on there. It's just about, I guess, knowing how to leverage the platform. And we can always talk a little bit more about that as well. I've had people secure jobs through LinkedIn, as long as your profile is strong and does stand out. We do have one question in the chat here. So someone asked, and they said, it's very difficult for me to reach out to people and ask them about jobs. I do get an offer here and there, but majority of the offers are not for me. So I would ask a little bit more about the offers. So is it in terms of salary range? Are you unsatisfied? Is it, you're looking for remote and they're offering hybrid or fully in office? So I would definitely want to know, if you are receiving these offers, why is it that we're not accepting? And then maybe if it's something we're not interested in, then we don't count those types of jobs as a part of our job search application process.
Perfect, thank you.
We have another one in the chat here. This one is from Ryan. So they completed a BBA at Yorkville. They're seeking project management roles, possibly within the construction field. What are entry-level roles and what is the job market like right now? And how will it be in the next 6 months? So let's go ahead with the first question. So even in terms of the job title, what exactly is considered entry level? That will vary from employer to employer. It will vary on job title. So as you know, different companies like to create their own types of job titles. If you read the description and if you look at the qualifications and responsibilities, you will find that it does fall under a certain type of umbrella, but they have titled it as something different. So even going on to ChatGPT and saying, "This is my background, can you please generate some entry-level titles for me?" And then with those job titles, you can even go onto LinkedIn and sign up for those types of alerts. You can go onto LinkedIn, search for people who are employed within those titles, and ask them if they'd have a coffee chat with you. Ask them if they would be interested in an informational interview. Look at their company website to see if they are hiring there. When it comes to predicting what the market will be like in 6 months, I wish I knew. It's definitely tricky. It is hard to determine what that will be like. Jobs are there, jobs are available. They've just gotten, I find, a little bit more out of reach. So there is a little bit more of work that is required from the job seeker, is what I find. But honestly, build out your network. You might not always get the responses, you might not always get the informational interviews, but it's the attempts and the effort that I find that really does pay off and make that difference.
Perfect, thank you. Um, we have a question about reference. So do people who become my reference have to be in a supervisory role, or my seniors or my prof at college who have taught me? Can I provide references who are my ex-colleagues or of same seniority and rank, or my classmates who have worked in group projects with me? And if I choose my profs who have taught me as my references, do they have to know me well? Can I ask my prof who don't know me well to be my reference? For example, I've only attended one or two of his classes throughout a semester. So when it comes to reference, it's always good to have somebody who was like your supervisor, or like maybe like a coworker, right? But anybody can be your reference, but how effective those reference going to be? If you put like a friend of yours, they're not even going to call, because usually when they ask for reference, they let you know what is the relationship, right? And if you write in brackets friend, it doesn't mean a lot to them. Usually they want to talk to somebody who was your supervisor, who you're reporting to, or a coworker. Even like a coworker, most of the times, if you're like a really good friends with like your coworker, of course they're going to provide you like a glorious reference. They want to like talk to somebody who was your supervisor, so they can comment on your skills, on your like experience, on like your attendance and stuff like that. So also putting professors as your references, I don't think that will help you a lot, and especially if they don't know you well. So I would never put somebody as my reference if they don't know me well. Because when somebody's your reference, they have to talk about your skills, your experience, how you handle like difficult, how you worked under pressure, for example. They're asking this type of questions, and your professor won't be able to provide those information. And you might like not get the job if your references are like not strong. So like to answer your second question, I wouldn't put like as reference a professor that doesn't know you well, or I wouldn't even put a reference anybody like that doesn't know you well, like a supervisor, a coworker, like. So no, like pick somebody that like know you well, they can comment on your skill and they can comment on your work experience. So I would definitely go with managers or supervisors.
I can go ahead and take the next one if you like. So this person says, I'm a newcomer to Canada with experience in data analytics. I am on a work permit and I've been applying, but haven't gotten any invitation for interviews yet. So when it comes to the world of data, definitely competitive, right? So that's the biggest thing. You did state that you have experience within the field already, which is amazing. One thing that I would point out and encourage you to do is to have a portfolio. So usually in data, lots of people use GitHub. And again, I know when you work on these projects, it does take time. You're not getting paid for it, but it does help the employer understand a little bit more about your skills and your qualifications. If you're asking, well, how many projects should I include on my GitHub? I would recommend one SQL, one Python, one Excel. There are tons of groups on LinkedIn. I usually share these with my clients. Join these groups, see what projects people are working on, where are they located, introduce yourself in these groups. Even if you just go and you type in like data analyst um, on LinkedIn, and then you hit on group as one of the searches or the filters, you'll be able to join them as well. So that's one part. Secondly, I would really encourage you to use JobScan. So one of the barriers that we're facing as well when we're applying for jobs is trying to pass this ATS, right? So which is the applicant tracking system. So if our resume is not making it past that, then unfortunately, you will not be seeing any pre-screening calls or technical assessments or interviews coming your way. So before a human from the company, before someone within the HR department has their hands on your resume, it does have to pass the ATS. So I would definitely prioritize that if you're noticing I'm not getting any interviews and I keep applying. Do a little bit of research and, just re-strategize and see if you'll notice a difference.
Perfect. Thank you. Next question, could you please provide some info about group interviews, and is it all about one position or to fill multiple positions, and common questions during group interviews? Oh my goodness, like I think it's been 10 years. Like I attended a group interview. Well, yeah, since I attended a group interview. So group interviews usually they might hire like for the same role. If they need to hire like a bunch of people for the same role, they do like 10 15 candidates for the same role, they might do group interviews. So during the group interview, it's very important like to be active, like to talk, to communicate. If they ask questions, to like provide an answer, because if you're quiet, if you're not sharing, if you're not like collaborating with the other people, probably you won't get selected. When I did a group interview, was for like a server role, and I remember it was like 5 of us, and they ask us questions and we like try to answer them, and then they gave us a task. They gave us a task of like a lot of cutleries, and they're like, 4 of you now, sort it out. And like you always see one person like taking the lead and be like, okay guys, let's do this, you do this, you take this task, and then everybody's trying to collaborate, and they see like how good you are, like, and processing those information, how good you are in like completing the task. So it can be like for one role, can be like for multiple roles if they're like kind of like similar, and like it really depends on skills and experience. But during group interviews, what is most important is to talk, to like try to collaborate with other people, be respectful, watch out, like be careful of your body language, make sure that you like stand, you look in the eyes when you talk, like your gestures are kind of like, like you're professional. So just like pay attention to those things and be prepared, right? Like kind of like review the job description and come up with like some questions that you might think they will ask you. And how you can do that, search for keywords. If they look for somebody that like should take an initiative, or like they need for somebody like they need to have like, this person needs to have innovative skills, make sure that like a question will come up. They might say like, tell me about a time when you took an initiative, or tell me about a time when you created a process, so like you need to be able, or they will give you like a problem, a case, and then they will ask, like how you will solve this. So want to see like what answers you're gonna get and how well you will work with the group. Do you want to get the next one?
Yeah, I accidentally answered one and set it as done. So I'll just go back and read the question. So it says, are photos used on anything regarding resumes in Canada? This was a normal practice in Europe. So I have seen a few resumes in my past that did have photos included. It's not necessarily common to include that in your resume. I would say that is kind of what LinkedIn is for, right? Like, that is where you have your picture, you have your banner. It's a little bit more personal. So on resumes, no. Another common thing that I see on resumes is, like citizenship. I'm a permanent resident. I'm on a work permit and it expires in, April 2025. That is not a part of the resume. That should not be included on there. If the employer does have questions about that, about maybe your availability or when, you would be available to work up until, that is when they would have that conversation. Or I know sometimes with the SIN number, it might start with a certain digit. So that's how they're able to identify this information. So yeah, marital status, anything in regards to your status within the country, pictures are not necessarily a requirement at all. Um, so we do have another question here, and this is going back to LinkedIn. So what is a good headliner slash profile for LinkedIn for an administrator slash CSR? Are you introducing yourself as well as your skills? Absolutely. So when it comes to LinkedIn, of course, we want to have a professional picture, white background. When it comes to the banner, I will put the link in the chat. There's a free website that you can use called Canva. You just go in and you type in LinkedIn banner, and then you can pick any one that resonates with you or is, relates to your field of work. When it comes to the headline, that is where I would encourage you to use as many keywords as possible that are relevant to your field of work. So, if it's for a CSR admin role, maybe you're noticing in lots of job descriptions that Microsoft Office is common, and you really need to have that skill. You could put that in your headline. You could put customer service representative in your headline. Any other job titles that are similar, you can also include that in your headline as well, because that is what gets captured when searches are being conducted on LinkedIn.
Perfect, thank you. Next question. I possess over 10 years experience in real estate investment, focusing on Asian market. I attended business accounting in Centennial College, started 2024, expected to graduate in 2025 in the fall. What do you suggest on my career path if I target to join the real estate investment industry in Toronto? So like if you want to stay in real estate, then yeah, I mean, you have like 10 years of experience. So I think that's like a really good start. What I recommend is maybe like even right now, I mean, I know that you're still in school, but even right now, try to kind of like get in touch with like some real estate, like with real estate agents, and see if like they need like an assistant, because in order to be their assistant, you don't need to have like the license, and you might help them with some documentation, or they might send you to like to show a house, right? So that's how you will get into the market, and you will like start like make like a network. I also recommend to like research and get your real estate license if you want to stay like in real estate, right? So like try to see like if you see if you can get like the real estate license, and that might help you, like to kind of like start your career. I know that it's like it takes like 6 or 7 months to do that, or even like sometimes shorter if you kind of like really depends like how much time you have to go through the courses. But if you just like Google and just say, like real estate license in Canada, or even like Ontario, all of the information will come up. I think like with this many years of experience in real estate, I think you should kind of like stay in that. Attending, like business accounting, it will help you, especially if it's real estate investment, right? So definitely I think that's where you should start networking, start like attending. Right now, like I've seen like a lot of like networking events are happening again in person. So like use the app Meetup, Eventbrite. It's like another great app that you can, or website that you can go and see like what type of events are like happening in your area. So try to attend those and try to connect with people on LinkedIn. Also try to look up for like to search up for brokerage, and like see if you can connect with like some of the brokers. They might need like some help, and it would be really nice, even like a free work. Like if you're a volunteer, who cares? You're making the connection, you're getting experience. It's pretty great. And they can also advise you like on your career path, because they have that experience, right? Next one. How can one apply for roles even if they are fresher, and now can they show relevant experiences even for entry-level jobs in the IT industry? So I'm assuming that you have experience and you want to apply for like IT, like entry-level IT roles. So what, like really depends what they're looking for. You will get the job description, right? And like see what they're looking for in a job description. So when you try to tailor your resume, do not like include 27 like bullet points, right? Try just to tailor and include the bullet points that they're looking in the job description. In that way, it will make you like overqualified if you just show the things that they're looking for, right? Because especially if you have like a lot of experience, you might have done like other stuff, right? And if you think that this is like an entry level and including like those things in the resume might like just like reject your resume because you're overqualified, then try to tailor your resume according to the job description and kind of like remove some of the bullet points from your resume. You're not lying, you're not hiding anything. We cannot include everything that we are doing on our resume, right? Just like tailor it to what they're looking for. So I think that might like, like that might help you to like get interviews, maybe even like for entry level jobs. And sometimes I know that it's entry level, but some recruiters want to give the opportunity to even like more experienced people, candidates, just because, like they're always concerned about salary because entry level roles like have like lower salary, right? Starting salary. So like they might think, oh, this person has like this many years of experience. They might not be interested in this type of role. So, like, but sometimes recruiter want to give, like a chance. So you never know, just keep applying. Another thing to remember, the IT industry was like not doing very well, like in the last like couple of years. So that might be like another reason why you're not getting like a lot of calls because they're still trying to rebuild it. They're changing. There was like a big layoffs. So just also like consider that the market wasn't stable for IT. Okay, next one. Question for whenever you have time. I am in the marketing communication world, and have a degree in communications and a diploma in marketing, digital marketing. I have applied to around 70 jobs in 6 months and haven't had any luck besides hospitality bartending. So the problem for me is that I'm landing interviews, but then I can't get the job, which means I'm not doing well in the interviews. Do you have any general tips for interviewing? I'm confident, dress well, practice the common questions. I'm out of ideas at this point. So my question is, and I know that sometimes like recruiters or interviewers won't respond back, but have you like emailed some of the hiring managers or recruiters that like interviewed you to ask for feedback? Maybe there's like a common denominator that you don't know about that like they might like let you know so you can kind of like work on that. I saw that Tiffany like share the star method. That's something that might help you for like how you present your answers, because sometimes maybe you're like talking, maybe like you're giving them a long answer and then they might not get the idea of like, okay, what was the result? With using the start method, you're starting with kind of like a situation, then you go like with the task, then you talk about the action that you took, and then you talk about the result. So I know that you're practicing your answers, but maybe, like you need to work a little bit more so you present well, because sometimes people practice and they're good when they like answer the question, but they're not like giving that important information needed for the recruiter or the hiring manager to make like a proper decision. So I would recommend, like I think there's like some resources on the Devant website. You can definitely like check those out. And also like the career coaches, Tiff, myself, like, and there are a couple of other career coaches that we offer like mock interviews. We can definitely do something like that if you're interested, so you can check that out too. But yeah, the main thing is like practice the star method, practice your answers out loud, because sometimes you might like prepare, you might like type everything out, but when you start like presenting, it doesn't come like as like professional or as structured. So like try like kind of like those things.
I was just going to add in, sometimes what I do when I have an interview is I will put my camera on, I will face it towards myself, and I will ask myself questions that I think the person or the interviewer might ask me. And then I will go back and review this footage. I will go back and review how I answered this question. It can be a little awkward. It can be a little bit cringe, honestly, to go back and review this footage. But at least you will know, okay, this is how I'm presenting myself. This is my tone. This is what I'm giving off. I do find the star method to be helpful because for myself personally, I tend to ramble on. I think I'll just, the more I explain, the more I speak, the more I speak, the more they will understand. And the star method gives us a formula how to answer this question, how to keep it concise to the point, and basically give them exactly what it is that they need to hear. So yeah, try the camera out, see how you feel about it. Maybe that will give you a few pointers and maybe a few ideas as to how you would like to answer your questions moving forward.
Perfect. Thank you, Tiffany. Next question. Good evening, Sue here. Hi, Sue. I was wondering, sorry, this just moved a little. Okay. I was wondering if there are any tips for LinkedIn, like if there are some job experiences that they're too short and we should not add them, or is it not related to the career we want to pursue? So the only thing that it's a little bit tricky, like if you like change constantly LinkedIn, is if you're applying to like a lot of jobs, you won't be like, you need to be able to keep one format. So let's say you're applying for like marketing roles and you are working as a bartender somewhere. Honestly, don't even put it on LinkedIn. If let's say like those like short like contract jobs, or like even like long-term, like couple of years, like if you've been like in like a job for a couple of years, it's not related to like the work that you're applying, and it's not, there are not like transferable skills there, you don't have to include them. Because also what you don't want to happen is to have like 10 jobs on LinkedIn and you're applying for like an entry-level role, right? You need to like structure your profile and include the jobs that you had that are like very close, or they're kind of like in the same field as, like the field that you like want to find job. So that's kind of like my advice. Try to kind of like do that. You don't have to include everything that you did like on LinkedIn. I haven't included like all of my like previous experience, like as like server or like bartender, or maybe like I did like a couple of projects that were like not related to like the work that I'm doing right now. So just like think of that, and yeah, if it's something that is not related to what you're looking for, then like you don't have to like put it on LinkedIn, but you need to make sure that whatever you have on your resume also needs to be on LinkedIn. I'm doing a post-graduation diploma in project management, IT. I will graduate in 2025. I want to be, okay, you're on a work permit right now. Oh no, you want to be on a work permit after graduation. Can you please let me know if there's like any possibility that after a 1-year course to get 3 years of work permit? So I know that the law has changed recently, because before was for 1 year of like courses, or if you're taking like a certificate course of 1 year, you're getting 1 year of work permit. And then if you're taking like 2-year program or 3-year program, then you're automatically getting like a 3-year work permit. So I know that the law has changed recently, and there's so many changes that even myself now, like I'm not like, like following up like everything, but I think it is really hard even now to get like a 3-year of work permit with just like 1 year of like schooling here. So definitely there is, I think, a workshop next week where it's about like immigration. Definitely attend that like workshop so you will get a better answer for this. But from what I have learned and from my like experience from before, the chances are very slim. I don't think that you will get like a 3-year work permit if you're like, if you were in school for 1 year, and especially if it's not something that like it's they need in Canada, because right now they're looking like more towards what we need, what type of jobs like we need to fill. So those will be the programs, and the like in the students in those programs will get like work permits. So like if you're in IT, I don't think that will happen, unfortunately. But definitely attend the immigration workshop next week and you will get a better answer. Do you want to take the next one?
Yeah, I can go ahead and take it. I'm not sure if you're able to hear the rain in the background. It just started pouring. Um, so I've graduated since September of 2023, and I haven't found any job yet because I have no Canadian experience. So I work with hundreds and hundreds of newcomers. I definitely hear the lack of Canadian experience, employment gap. So when it comes to this, I will definitely say any work experience is relevant experience as long as we are able to clearly identify and share to the employer what our transferable skills are. So there's lots that you learn in each role that you can take with you to a new one. Um, I've had lots of newcomers that I've supported who find jobs within the field, and it just honestly, it all does come down to the resume. So, I would just make sure that it's ATS friendly. Sometimes, even before we get into the contents of the resume, the formatting can sometimes, you'll notice you're not getting as much traction. The formatting of the resume also does make a big difference. So, do you have like large white gaps on the pages of your resume? What types of bullet points are you using? What is the formatting of the resume? And then really making sure that we are effectively communicating, and tailoring. So when we say tailoring, it means the summary of qualifications. Do you have about 5 to 7 relevant points on there? When it comes to the work experience, maybe you have 2 to 3 jobs that you worked in back home. How are we showing the employer that, I may not have worked in Canada as of yet, but because of these jobs that I have back home, this is why I would be a good fit at your company. So that's what I would really try to focus on. And then going back to the ATS, if you are someone who uses JobScan, I would highly encourage you to aim for a match rate of at least 70 to 80%, just to be on the safe side.
Right. Next question. Hi, I'm enrolled in the accounting at Humber program. I have 8 years of prior experience in accounting. I'm seeking a part-time opportunity here, preferably in a business finance admin position. Been applying since August 24, but no luck. Korean counselor told me that it's because my resume is for the role that is the reason I'm not getting job. What is OQ? Overqualified? Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Perfect. Okay, so my resume is overqualified for the role. That is the reason I'm not getting any jobs. Okay. So you know what? Like I know that sometimes that might be the case, but like applying since August 24, now we are in November. Sometimes the job market can be like a little bit tricky. I know right now that the finance sector is like pretty good and they're like hiring a lot of people. So I would say like keep applying. Maybe try to kind of like I think I talked about this like previously. Try to tailor your resume just according to the job description and do not like add like everything that you did. So in that way, you might not look like overqualified. If you're applying for like junior roles and you have like a senior experience, maybe even like change a little bit the job title, right? Like maybe if you're like senior accountant, you can just add like accountant, like or stuff like that. So just like remove like that from your job title. So in that way, it's not going to like the recruiters and the hiring managers won't think that they're like you're overqualified. Another thing that I might suggest, and this might not be like successful all the time, but like reach out to like recruiters. Recruiters, they're recruiting for the finance sector. And like send your resume and see like they might help you as well. I'm not saying to rely on only on them. Keep applying, keep networking, try like different job boards, tailor your resume, but also, like reach out to the recruiters. Use Chat GPT, like it's pretty great. Maybe like share your resume there and just say, please, like give me an example of like and make it like less qualified. I don't know, like sometimes like I put links like there and Chat GPT like does its magic. So like try and see if that will help you. Maybe we'll just say, okay, remove this thing, like this thing is not the same as the job description. Excuse me, see if that is going to help you. There's not a lot that you can do, but the only thing that I say is if you're applying for like an entry level kind of like job, maybe not like include a lot of like senior things that you did. Maybe don't say supervise people of like a team of 5 people if you're applying for an entry level job, right? But in that like bullet point, talk about the things that you did, like, and in that way, like it won't look like that. You won't look that overqualified. Tiffany, do you have anything else to add?
Nothing else for this question specifically. I was answering a few in the chat. Just going back to the recording. I know someone was asking like in terms of privacy, so I don't believe you would want to be recording the interview, the live interview with someone that you're having. So it was just a suggestion, create a few questions, face your camera, turn it on, record yourself answering these questions, and then see you know, what your answers are like. I find that we are our hardest critics. There's no one else that's going to be harder on us than us. So once you review that footage and you see, okay, this is how I answered, or, maybe I could have explained this better, or I could have worded this differently, that's when you will have that chance and opportunity to do so. So we have another question here in the Q&A. So it says, I find group interviews to be difficult as someone who prefers working independently. All the jobs that I have applied for that involve group interviews were all rejected. It isn't that I didn't talk at all. So you tried your best to cooperate with others in the group. What advice do you have for me to improve in this respect of handling group interviews or assessments? So I would probably, maybe observe a little bit about who else is what type of other answers are people providing in this group. So I know that you stated you didn't, sit there quietly, which is good. So you're chatting, you're talking with others, you're answering questions, which is amazing. I haven't had a whole ton of group interviews myself. I think I had one many, many years ago. And it can be nerve-wracking at times to see, okay, we're all aiming for the same type of role. It can be a little nerve-wracking for sure. So in terms of advice, again, see how you're answering these questions. What can you do to stand out? Katerina mentioned something even about body language, right? So if these are all in person, of course, it can make a huge, huge difference in what we hear back. I don't know if Katerina, you have anything else to add in when it comes to group interviews or assessments?
Not really, like sometimes you will do everything right and then you still not going to get like picked, or they go like with somebody else. Like I always say to like people not to get discouraged. Even right now I'm helping a friend and I'm coaching her through like interviews, and I always say to her, like, you might answer all of the questions correct, but like somebody else might like answer like better than you. That doesn't mean that you did like a bad job. There's always somebody who has like more skills than you, will answer like question better than you. So the competition is like huge. So like the only thing that for everybody, it's like, make sure that you prepare, you do your best, and you go there with confidence. That's it. I think there was like a really great question about, sorry, it was, about networking events. So it says, when I go to networking events, I get good feedback, but I can't close the deal and land interviews, or like, an interview like just fail. Could I be psyching or self-sabotaging myself? How can I get confidence before speaking with these important people? So, like sometimes when we want something so bad, like finding a job, closing a deal, getting an interview, we might come across, like, I don't want to call it aggressive, but sometimes that might happen because you want this so much, so you're trying your best, and sometimes you might come even like all aggressive or like too demanding, right? And like the energy that you're sending the other person might not match. So usually when you go to this event, maybe like think about just networking. Like don't think about getting an interview, don't think about like getting a job. Just think about like networking, talk about what you're like doing, like ask them questions. Don't say, oh, like, can I get an interview? How about like I get a job? Because maybe these people like don't have like roles, like, like to hire somebody. Maybe they're here to also network, expand, like their build like relationships, and then down the road, like they might like reach out to you. So when you go first to this event, just be confident, just try to talk to them, connect with them on LinkedIn. That's it. Because you never know, the same person like a month from now might call you and say, hey, there is like a posting, go ahead and apply. Just tell them that you're looking for a job, tell them like what you're doing, and like just say, do you have any advice for me? What do you think like I should do, like like in order to like land the job pretty fast? Any advice on interview, cover letter, resume? Try to like make it as informational interview where you're getting information from them, but you're not asking to get hired or to have an interview, because some of them are there just to network, just to have like kind of like a good time, right? And they don't even think about, oh, like I want to find like like somebody for like this role. So like 99% of the time like that happens, like when they go to networking events, it's just to network, like not to like hire somebody. So not everybody does that. So maybe like try like that approach and see if that works for you. And about confidence, like there are like a couple of great courses on LinkedIn that definitely like I would recommend. I think one was called like how to be more confident, and just like search it on like LinkedIn Learning, and you will like, I think the course will come up, and I think it was a free course and it was pretty great. So that might help you. Okay, other question. I'm in between early career and mid-level, and I have gone back to university to try and obtain a degree, which I have identified as a vast issue for me. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get into an immediate computer science program right now, and I'm doing another degree that will allow me to work in strategic operations management or in the business suite as well as government agencies. I'm not a beginner. The response I have gotten is that I don't have enough experience, and some say I have too much experience. What advice would you give to someone like me who's doing a transition into an industry without a lot of work background? I have worked in many industries and have skills that companies want. Unfortunately, I can't express myself well. Um, so for the jobs that they say like you don't have enough experience, the only thing that I'm thinking it's maybe like you have kind of like a mid-level experience, and maybe you're applying for like senior roles or like director roles. So maybe try to kind of like apply for jobs that like mirror your experience. Another thing is if you're transitioning from one job to another, make sure that like you network, like make sure that you find like people in the same sector and like try to talk to them and like get their advice. Another thing is I always say like if you don't have enough experience, you can always look like for volunteer roles. These roles are like really good because they can provide you with the experience that you need, and most of them are like online. You don't have to like go and like, like and actually like go to the office to do the work. So like I know that this is a little bit tough, but maybe like talk to like a career coach or like somebody in school in career services, and because they will know better, because right now I don't have like a lot of information. I know that you like told me a little bit about like that you're transitioning, but talk to them about this transition so they might be able to help you and provide you like, like with the resources that you might need. The STAR method makes answers very long. Is there another formula that help deliver crisp and concise answers? So the STAR method answer should not be long. Like probably you're putting like a lot of information in there. Like for each letter you should have like a line or two, like max 3 lines, like but like 2 lines it's enough. Like so here's like what you can say. For like if they ask you like a question, you can just say when I started my job, like if they like, let's say like they ask a question about like employee engagement, I can say like when I started my job at this company, their employee engagement was low, so that was one of my tasks to make sure that I increase the employee engagement. So like how I approach this, so we're like already at A now, I'm technically talking about the action. So I already started about the situation, the task, and then now the action. So how like I started this is I sent surveys and like get employees to answer some questions so I can gain their approach. I also like went and observed their work and observed and see how they communicate between each other. That was enough for me to gather enough information. And then I realized where was the gap. The gap was that employees were not satisfied and didn't have like the right manager to go to and talk about their problems. So this is what I did. I, like train the managers. I make sure that I'm available to answer their questions. And then, like from there, I saw that the engagement like grow. Not even like a minute. So those are just like the couple of lines. You should not take you like 5 minutes explaining, like your answer. And I know maybe you might add like a couple more sentences and that's totally fine. But the STAR method should not take long. Tiff, do you have anything else to add?
No, I swear by the STAR method. I actually, a few months back, I had a recruiter. The recruiter sent my client a PDF and information on the on the STAR method for them to prepare for the interview that they're about to set up for them. So even they have their ears listening and ready for this type of information and ready for these types of answers as well. Um, but yeah, it's pretty reliable, I would say, for the most part. I also don't mind going through the next few slides,
Yeah,
Katerina, if you're okay with that.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Yeah, so if you found this helpful, if you found this workshop to be informative, please ensure that you do register and attend for the other upcoming ones that we have as well. So next Wednesday, which is the 27th of November, is the immigration Q&A. I know we had quite a few questions in regards to work permits, in terms of employment, what that could look like. So please make sure that you register and show up. You might find it to be extremely informative. Wednesday, December 4th, we have Ask a Recruiter. So government and real estate. I know we had a real estate question in here as well. So that might be something that you will be interested in attending and showing up for. Wednesday, December 11th, we have a workshop on building your network. And then on the 18th, it's a Christmas virtual social. So how to prep and secure employment and come up with strategies and planning for the new year. Um, we very briefly mentioned before that you will also be able to book one-on-one coaching sessions with us. So if you would like to do that, we do have a promotion going on. So instead of $150 per hour, it is $95. So please feel free if you would like to meet with us and chat a little bit more to book a session. So I just put the link there in the chat. So please feel free to take a look and see what date and time would work better for you. And if you are registered in school, which I know a lot of you are students right now, your college or university may already provide a service like this. So just ensure that you're checking with your employment services department to see if this is something you can take advantage of. So if you go onto the Devant website and you go to services, you will see that there's probably a bit more for you to play around with and take a look at. So there's the Canadian job market report. We do offer LinkedIn profile audits. So we know we talked a lot about LinkedIn and the importance of having a strong profile. So if you would like an audit to be done, it is fairly in-depth and it does provide you with the next steps and what you should have your profile set up to look like. And we also have resume and cover letter writing. I had shared the link in the chat earlier, but again, you will also be able to find this on the website as well. So that is it, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this evening.
Tiff, we have a couple more minutes. I just want to address a couple of
Yeah,
more
go
questions.
ahead.
So somebody says, could 5-6 months before should be enough for starting roles? Yes, the answer is yes. And then there's like one about, let me just see. There's one about, so when, where was it? That I really, okay. I included all my jobs because I don't remember all the exact dates I worked at previous jobs. I put everything so that people can see if I have a work history. I'm disabled and have had bad health, so I have a big gap on my resume. What advice could you provide? So usually, you know, like when you like attend interviews, if they ask you about the gap, it's okay to say like it is for like because of health reasons, right? It's okay to say that to the recruiter. Because you mentioned that you said like I'm disabled and have had bad health. If you require any accommodation, it's okay to like advise that the hiring manager. Everybody has like a really good accessibility policy, and if you have the right skills, there would be an issue for them to like accommodate you during the interview, and they can also see if they can accommodate you for the job. So my advice is like to keep applying, be open, don't worry about the big gap on the resume. People you know, like recruiters will ask you about that, and then you know, like you can definitely provide them with the answer. And then like, you know, like you can always kind of like ask for advice if you have like any like if you're like attending school, like your career counselors. I know that there's like accessibility advisors in school. Talk to them because they might like they can help you, they can provide like you with better advice because they're working in school and they kind of like have this experiences, so they can definitely help you out. Okay, so I think Yeah, like a couple of other questions is about co-op and like virtual job interviews. So for virtual job fair, like like attending like those type of like interviews, just practice. Like Tiff said, like like record yourself, like watch the recording and see, like if what can you improve. So like work and practice. With practicing, you will become better. Okay, I think that was all. We covered pretty much all of the answers. Thank you so much for attending this workshop. I'm hoping that the advice that Tiff and I provided to you, like it's helpful and you can apply it. Good luck with your job search. Just keep applying, keep practicing for your interviews. I'm sure you will find something soon. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.